All right. Hi, I'm Ray Dickey, South Carolina, Hudson Valley CAI Association Help Now. We are in a lot of states. What am I going to say next, Dawn? You hear it all the time.
Sometimes you ask me every time, and I always mess it up, Ray. It's too challenging for me.
I'm starting to feel like Dawn's not really listening to me. I got to be honest with you. You know what state you're from, so I'm not going to bother like going through them. I love these segments, live manager panel segments, because I've been learning a lot. And Dawn said the same thing, and I'm not kidding. Like a whole bunch of new stuff comes up when we just hear from the managers. And we're missing one manager because they had a technical problem. So I'm sorry about that. Our industry leaders are here to come in a little bit towards the end or, you know, pop in and out as needed. But we're really here to hear from the managers. Before I go any further, I'm going to launch a poll. Let me find that button. If you are here for CEUs, click which one is appropriate. That would be great. If I close the poll before you have time to fill it out, which I probably will, because you have to move pretty quick, everyone has a question feature. Use that question feature to communicate with me today, please. I'm going to close the poll. So just use your question feature and say, hey, Ray, I need CEUs. Angela, I get so lonely when no one communicates with me. Honestly, I feel like I'm all by myself here.
Yeah,
so,
it's like that song, All by Myself. That's your theme song.
That's actually, if I had a theme song, that'd be probably going too far, but I would like one. I don't use people's names, so feel free to ask whatever you want to ask. If you want to ask the last time Tom had a haircut, ask me. I'll find out. No one will know who we asked anything. I know Tom pretty well, so I'm allowed to say just about anything I want in regard to Tom. All right, at least I think so. Right, Tom? Permission granted? Thank you. But please, honestly, contact, ask questions, bring up topics. That's why we're here. We're here for manager-related topics and issues. We were just talking about videos. There's like 1,000 videos with all managers on there, and Michelle's on there a lot. I think actually everybody here is on there somewhere. And we have another video page too if you want even more videos. With that being said, just go to the website, Association Help Now. Everything's on there. And I put the chapter stuff on there too, just in case people need to find the links to the chapter stuff. That being said, let's welcome our panel with who I see first, and that is Angela.
Good afternoon. Excited to be here.
Where are you from? What company?
I'm located in Columbia, South Carolina, from CAMS Association Management Services. I've been with them almost 10 years now. And yeah, I love this job because it's challenging in every aspect. It's different every day. So I like it. Were you the person I asked how you, no, that was someone else who had a good attitude. I think that was another. I'll take it.
Yeah, you know it. Next is Marissa.
Hi, I'm with Hellman Management in New York, community manager.
Okay. And Marissa has a tremendous amount of stuff going on, at least that I know of. And I will be talking I will be trying to get her to talk about it. By now, everybody knows my friend Tom, but Tom, go ahead.
A former association manager for 20 years, been at the bank for Citizen Bank for 21 years. I started when I was 3. And right now I'm in Florida. We do lockbox and banking services.
Next is Michelle.
Hi there. My name's Michelle Baldry. I am with Reserve Advisors. We're a national reserve study company.
Michelle always gives great, precise answers. You do. You're just like a natural at it. I don't know how you do it so well. Next is Dave Byrne.
Hi, everybody. My name is Dave Byrne. I'm the chairperson of my law firm's community associations practice. We represent condominiums, HOAs, and cooperatives in New Jersey, New York, and Pennsylvania.
Next is Dawn.
Hi, everybody. My name is Dawn Becker-Durnan, and I am a Community Association Risk Management Specialist, which is a CIRMS. And I got that designation through CAI. I am an insurance broker. I work with Acrisure, and we provide insurance products for community associations all across the country.
All right, and Brooke, just so you know, we can see you. Can you hear us? Okay, well, you'll figure it out when you jump in. That being said, I want to appreciate everybody for being here. Oh, Brooke, can you hear us?
Yes. I
Okay.
finally made-
All right. So you need to learn how to mute and unmute maybe, because we're getting some background noise from you, but let's see how it goes. It seems fine right now. Brooke, why don't you introduce yourself?
Hey, Brooke Johnson. I work with Town and Country Property Management in Greenwood, South Carolina.
All right. Now, everyone's information is in the packet. Just download it. If you can't download it, call me, or don't call me, please. Email me, and I'll be happy to send it to you. You can email Tom if you need it, and then he'll email me, whatever way works best. That being said, I do have a question before I have our industry leaders jump off, because I like to just concentrate with the managers for a little while for these. And I didn't get to this last time, so I apologize. I think this was from a large scale manager, but it doesn't matter. If there is an election for a HOA board of directors seat and only one candidate runs, should ballots still be cast and counted, or should the nominee fill the seat without any ballots cast? If there are no ballots cast and the candidate fills the seat, is it considered that that person won the election or simply filled the seat by acclamation? Dave.
That's going to be dependent, in my view, on the state in which you are located. For instance, in New Jersey, you would still have to go through all of the process, including counting ballots, sending ballots, etc., for a variety of reasons, one of which is that the statute requires you to allow for write-in votes. So although a write-in candidate is unlikely to win, theoretically, you would have to disseminate all the ballots, accept them all, and then review and count them all, because it's possible that write-in candidates could exist and the result could be altered. So in New Jersey, you would have to go through all of that activity, even though there was only one person declared for even though only one person had declared for a seat on the board.
All right. Thank you, Dave. All right, Michelle, Dave, and Tom, please jump back on like when there's about 25 minutes left, whether I call for you or not, just so I don't get too and take some notes if you need to. If you can. I know you're both I know you're all kind of trying to get some work done too, in case there's anything you want to bring up based on what we've talked to the managers about. And thanks again for being here. I really appreciate it. Let me adjust my screen here for a second. All right. Angela, I realize I forgot to ask really quickly, what kind of manager are you? Meaning, like, are you a portfolio manager? Do you manage one community? And just give us a brief outline of what you're managing.
Sure. Currently, I'm the regional director at CAMS. I do still manage a few associations under me, and I'm considered a portfolio manager.
Okay. Marissa.
I'm a community association manager. I have 2 properties, one of which I'm on site. The one I'm on site has 342 units. So
Excellent. Brooke.
I am a portfolio manager, and I manage 17 communities across South Carolina and one in North Carolina.
Brooke, are you in your upstairs office?
I am in my dining room.
Oh, okay. Never mind. I know your office has 2 floors, and you're upstairs, right?
Yes.
That's where they put the cool people. Just so you know, if you ever,
Yes.
Angela, if you ever go there, there's a lot of fun stuff going on upstairs. They know how to party up there. The rest of the office downstairs does all the work. No offense, Brooke. No, I'm kidding. Okay. That being said, since elections came up and there was a question about it, Angela, how often do they run smoothly? And if they don't, what is the cause of it?
I think it depends on the board that's currently there. And then how many candidates you get in prior to the call for candidates, prior to the proxy or the annual meeting packet going out, or special meeting, depending on what type of meeting it is, as to how smoothly they run. Because that kind of gives you an idea of how many people are going to be running, if you're going to have enough people to fill those seats or not.
And don't, if you want to add anything else when I go to the next person, by all means, just interrupt me. Marissa, if things are not running smoothly during an election, is it ever the manager's fault? And is there anything like the manager could even do about it? Or is it just kind of like a hands-off situation?
I think it depends on the association, what's going on. But I think management usually is there and helps it to calm it down a lot on the community manager, on the annual meetings or any meeting instead of with the board. The board sometimes can, I'm trying to think of the right word. Sometimes the board can
Metal?
misspeak.
You don't want to say it,
We
but I will.
can ease it out, or sometimes it could be a little complicated, and we're able to discuss it in a way that the residents can understand.
Like, I don't want you guys to say it, but like the board can meddle, they can mess it up, they can cause problems, they can just make everybody's life miserable. But don't say that because that's who you guys work for. Brooke, not asking for my commentary or response, but in regard to elections, how do you generally, it's tough for managers, I would assume, because if you involve yourself too much, you could be, someone's always going to accuse you of being on a side. Do you agree?
Yeah, and I think that's important when you have like an ad hoc committee to support you once you count ballots, and they can come behind you and count ballots and verify. It gets a little chaotic in the beginning with proxies. People are trying to hand you papers. The manager's there to ensure there's a quorum. So yes, the board can convolute it a little bit. But it is our job to keep things on track. It is, I've noticed at the beginning of most large meetings that it does get a little chaotic, but once you got the quorum verified, you can kind of get back on track and continue with the meeting.
Somebody said, I hate the elections. People get so angry at each other and there's nothing I can do about it. So they could be a manager or they could be a board member. So, and I love.
Sorry, I was just saying, I don't know if Marissa and Brooke have found this, but I have found that turnover transition meetings, the elections are a lot more feisty, if you will.
Definitely.
This could be a lot more heated than like a normal annual meeting or special meeting election.
Turnover from the developer?
Yeah.
There, and Marissa, you were agreeing?
Well, I actually worked with the original sponsor at one point for the property. So it depends.
Okay.
Sometimes it could get a little heated because blame of the sponsor as well for a lot of things.
I was going to add, like Brooke, I'm going to go back to Angela, but why I think you were agreeing also a little bit, right?
Yes.
Why do they get heated? Why is it any, I thought it would be easier. There's not as many feelings that are going to be hurt, right? It's just like.
Well, they get to in the transition state, they get to pick the board. And so, a lot of, there could be some animosity there on who is serving. They feel like there is possibly favoritism. And also they may be upset with the developer on how things were handled during the development. So I could see why it could be hostile.
Do you guys ever feel like you're just watching a train wreck and there's like nothing you can do about it? That's what it is.
Yes. You just roll with the punches. You just got to roll with the punches sometimes.
All right. I'm going to poll the audience and let them kind of dictate what we want to talk about. This seems to go well. People seem to like it. Audience, would you like us to discuss one item that our managers are proud of? A unique, unexpected challenge they had to deal with? One area or role of something that caused confusion? Something that caused confusion? An emergency situation they had to handle? Or do you want us just to surprise you? So I'm going to give this another second. Can you guys see the poll running?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I'm going to go ahead and just, let's see. And I'm going to share the results. even though I don't have to. All right, so it looks like number 3 was first, number 2, and then the rest were all tied. So one area of a role of confusion was the number 1 item. All right, I'm going to go the other way around and start with Brooke. Brooke, if you can't think of anything, it's hard because you have no warning what we're going to talk about. So don't feel bad. But can you think of one area of confusion you have found in this industry or have experienced as a manager? We can come back.
Yeah, come back.
How about you, Marissa?
I think right now the area of confusion is the cost of insurance for the associations and why it's going so high right now, and the cost that it goes onto the budget. I think that's the biggest confusion to the homeowners.
I cannot believe that people still don't understand how insurance works and that, you know, there's a lot of factors involved that are outside of your control. Is the confusion, well, see, this puts you guys on the spot. Is the confusion with just the owners or the board also? Don't answer. I'm going to assume you're talking about the owners. But I guess because the boards get educated enough, right? Eventually you'll get through to the board, right, Marissa? Do you agree or?
I think so, but right now with the cost of it, I think it's just, it keeps going so high, the 15%, the 20%, that it's just getting to the point that they don't understand. It's getting very confusing and harder to explain.
Angela, do you agree and do you let the insurance professionals come in and talk to the owners themselves? Because I've done a lot of live streams and that seems to be, I don't know, something that works out for people.
I do agree. I was actually going to say that, or the assessments increasing seems because of inflation and things going on. We do see that, and what we offer a lot of times is we'll have the expert come and talk to the board so that they can speak on it in a well area so that they know what they're talking about, but also we'll provide a webinar to the owners that help explain the insurance, the need for it, and be able to provide them a link so they can go and watch it when they want to at their convenience.
Brooke, do you think it's that they're just not listening? I mean, I'm just going to say it. Like the owners just don't care. They just want to be mad about it. And they're like babies and they just want to yell and cry about something. And they don't really want to listen why the insurance went up. They just want someone to blame.
Yeah, I would agree with that. You not only have to educate your board, you have to educate the members too. And I'd say, assessment increase. That's why everyone's like, why do our assessments keep increasing? They don't pay attention to the financials. They don't really care. It's hard to get them to attend meetings, which we go over. That's the most important thing with the association is your financials. Where do you stand? Where's your money going? This is why you need to take an assessment increase. People just don't want to pay any more money. They want to continue paying what they're paying, but as we know, everything increases. So you've got to account for that, but they don't want to pay any additional.
Right.
And your board also fights you on it too. And it's like, well, you're at a deficit every single year. You can't continue to operate this way. So that I'd say that's the biggest is assessment increasing.
Did you ever hear about the green banana syndrome? Well, I'm going to say it anyway, because a lot of so some of the like older people in my building don't want us to take care of the building because they don't even want to buy green bananas because they don't even know if they're going to be around when they ripen. It's a real thing. A lot of people say it. It's kind of mean, but it's true, right? They're like, I'm not buying these bananas because I may not even be around to eat them. How am I going to be around tomorrow? Marissa's looking at me like that was a horrible thing to say and terrible. Okay. Michelle, when you come back on, if you could talk a little bit about how advantageous it is for when someone like yourself gets up there and presents to the owners, it would be awesome. And Dawn, if you could get back on, we'll have you come back on when we're done. Then Dawn, when you come back on later, if you could just come on and just talk about why people still don't understand what's going on with the insurance. And I don't want to get sidetracked with a full topic, but how can we help managers help owners understand more about why the insurance is going up? And the answer may be that we can't because they don't want to listen. Okay, let's go to item number 2. Oh, yeah. A lot of people are saying stuff about the insurance. They don't like okay. They don't like and a lot of other people chirped in that they hate the elections. Okay. I'm not surprised. Someone is always accused of cheating. Okay. All right. A unique, unexpected challenge. We'll go the other way around. Angela, can you think of something that has happened in your career that is a unique, unexpected challenge that you could share and people could learn from? There's a lot there.
I had one recently that came up, and if this is not a good example, just be like, we're Xing that and going to the next person. I'm fine. So we had an annual. It's okay. We had an annual meeting, and the last minute, the hour before, 4 of the board members decided not to show up to the meeting. Just didn't come because they were getting reelected. Then the one board member that did show up, we were encouraging this person, like, you need to run this meeting. It's your meeting. And she said, I don't want to do it. And we were like, we're here to help you. It's your meeting. You're the board. You need to run this meeting. And just encouraging her and giving her tips. Well, she walked away, and then she had her husband come back and tell us that she would not be running the meeting. And so we were there last minute, putting the meeting together and running it, which was fine. We were ready to go. But it was just so interesting to me to find out, like, an hour before the meeting, all the board members decided not to come. And then nobody wanted to run it. And so, yeah.
You said this is your annual meeting?
It was an annual meeting, yeah.
I meant we'll go back to Dave on this when we see him, but like, you're required to have the annual meeting.
Right, per the documents, yeah.
Don't say the name of the association or anything. Did you ever end up having one?
Yes, we did end up having one. We had to get some advice on that, but yes, we did end up having one.
Dave,
we did have a board member there, and we met quorum,
okay.
Even though she wasn't running the meeting.
Dave Byrne, a question for you when you pop back on is, do you have to have a quorum to have it count as a meeting? I'm just curious. Marissa, let me ask you something too, Angela.
Mm-hmm.
Does this board not like each other, or is this a very contentious? Somebody asked me, like, contentious. It must be a contentious environment.
Yes.
Okay.
Very much so.
But why would you run for the board and not be willing to go to the meetings?
That's the same question we had.
And it wasn't a surprise, right? It wasn't like they knew the environment, right?
Right. They knew the environment. They knew what they were walking into.
Okay.
They encouraged the annual meeting, the board election, and then I guess they were just like, this is our last meeting probably, and we're done. They just decided not to show up.
Man, I would just show up just to show people I wasn't afraid to show up, but that's me. All right, Marissa,
Believe it or not.
What?
I actually had a similar situation but we didn't have a quorum of the board for the annual meeting, and we couldn't continue.
Did they not show up though on purpose, or did they not show up for some other reasons?
One, there was a reason they didn't show up. The other one just didn't show up. So we had to have another meeting, set it up for another time. We did manage to do a Q&A with the residents. And the next meeting, one of those people that didn't show up popped in at the last 5 minutes. We did have a quorum of the board. We had a full quorum. Came in, ran in, handed a piece of paper, and then left. And he was running for the board too.
Is this in person?
Yeah.
And was your in person? Somebody asked me.
Yeah.
It was.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So back to Marissa. I don't understand. So this is an in-person event, and another case of the board members just not showing up. Don't they understand? Were the owners there? Were there like owners?
Yeah.
Yeah. Aren't the owners?
At mine it was understandable because there was a personal reason, last minute personal reason.
Okay.
But it was strange to not have a quorum of the board.
Aren't you playing like right into your adversary's hands by like annoying your owners by not showing up? I don't know. I'm not going to put you guys on the spot, but they don't sound like very good boards, but whatever. Okay. Brooke, a unique, unexpected challenge. Do you have one? If you don't, it's okay.
Yeah. Every day in this industry is a unique challenge. I feel like I don't have anything off the top of my head right now.
Your office was involved with those cows. Did you hear that story about your own office and how they had the cows?
Was it cows or geese?
cows. There was and you guys were managing a property, and I don't know if this ever happened to any managers in the audience or here, and owners were complaining that the yards were all torn up and there were like all these hoof marks. And to make a long story short, the manager like had to go out and investigate and like follow these tracks and trails. And it ended up, they started finding these giant clumps of like poop, like abnormally. This is the manager. So you think you're going to be a community manager one day, and here you are tracking these footprints, and you're finding giant things of poop. And they come around the corner to one of the houses, and there's like 4 or 5 cows there. And these cows have been running amok for like at night. This is like this, all night. This was in the morning. So this is something the community manager had to take care of. They had to get in touch with the farmer, and they came in. I just thought that was interesting because they felt like they were a big game tracker, but they were a little nervous too because they didn't know, not familiar with cows,
Yeah. Well, thank you.
No? Okay.
Appreciate
So
that.
I probably have too much free time on my hands that I know that about what went on there, but that's okay. All right. So another one, I love this one. I really do. One win you're proud of. It just, I'll start with you, Brooke. And if you don't have one, it's fine. But it could be like a project that went really well, or someone that you helped in the community. And we can bounce back. It just has to be something that you're proud of, that stands out. And sometimes it's hard when you're put on the spot. So don't feel bad.
Well, I would just say that I'm very passionate about what I do, and to see a community be successful, and your board is something that I take pride in. And so I don't have any one-off, but just having a successfully ran community, you don't have angry homeowners.
Right.
You have a happy board, you have a happy manager. Your committees are a huge support with that, making that successful. So just seeing your community thrive and the people that live in it happy. So
I don't know where this community is, but it sounds wonderful. I'd like to visit it one day. Now Marissa's going to make it look bad because she's going to say like she climbed up a tree and rescued people from a fire or saved. It's going to be some elaborate story because Marissa is just so go-getter and involved in so much stuff. But Marissa, obviously I'm exaggerating, but do you have something you're proud of?
I have 2 that I'm proud of, but
Just you one.
one that has really been a very successful.
Which one are you going to pick? Tell me.
I'm going to follow up with my last conversation was the yard sale. I think that's been a very huge success. We wanted to get a new play set. I've been wanting it for a long time for the community. The one we have in place is probably about over 20 years old, but the funds just weren't there. Everything else, cost of everything, you got to put what's the priority. Is the playground definitely
Right.
was a need. So we organized, and I was part of it. We worked a committee together. I was there for the meetings, and we ran a yard sale where residents donated items that we sold and it was an open yard sale. It was indoors. I had vendors come. We had them buy tables that they can sell their product as well. And it was a very big success so far, and we're only a few $100s away.
So I'm always like rushing people. But so basically I interviewed Marissa about this, and I thought it was a great story, just to kind of repeat what she said. So did you come up with the idea on your own? Or you're not going to take credit for it?
No, we worked as a team. It was a team.
That's what you guys always say. Okay, fine. Everything's a team effort. I know the board helps and everything. Okay, whatever it was, this idea of this flea market comes together. But what's great about Marissa's community was people were willing to donate things, like when they moved and things like that. And some items are expensive. People sometimes don't have things to leave to their children. It wasn't these items that it could have been like a ski set, or it could have been this, or it could have been that. These items were $100, $150 or even more. People were donating substantial items back to the community. Marissa's job was to put all these things in one place. People didn't travel to each home to organize it, put it into one place in one environment, and then market and advertise it. And people came from outside the community for this. Yep. They also went out to their vendors and said, hey, you want to sell carpet to our residents? You can have a table, whatever it was, $150, $200. And how much money do you want to say how much money have you raised?
As of right now, we're at $6,500 for the, and we're doing a round 2 this weekend.
And they also have the items on Facebook Marketplace.
Marketplace,
so this is like turned into a whole thing, and it's been a super successful. Brooke and Angela are looking at it like, oh my God, please, I hope my board isn't hearing about this because I don't want to be in charge of a flea market. But I could just tell. But anyway, it was a super successful project that you should be proud of because you did it. So congratulations.
We even had vendors donate money.
Yep.
Like it was a big, I mean, it was a really nice success. It was a big team effort.
And there's a video, by the way, where I interviewed Marissa. So if you want that, use the question feature. I'll send you the link. And there's another one where Marissa talks about EV stations, and we're going to get her back for that. But that's a whole other topic. But she knows a lot about getting an EV station set up. Okay, Angela, I feel like that's a little hard to follow with Marissa basically single-handedly raising like thousands upon thousands of dollars and running a flea market. That was kind of unfair. I should have gone the other way. It's a little unusual in our industry, but you must have something that you're proud of. Does anything come to mind?
Mine's definitely not. That's top notch there. I have one where an association recently, we were able to turn around their reserves due to a reserve study, and over 5 years we've been able to build it up, and now they're able to get a cool deck, replaster the pool, and they were not in a good spot when they first came in, and I was really excited to see that turn around for them, and able to help them get some repairs needed they desperately needed at their amenities.
Are you proud of it? Because, and you should take credit for it, you felt that you taught them maybe with some help on the importance of a reserve study. Is this something you had to sell to the board to make happen?
Yeah, it took me 2 years to even get them to do the reserve study because of the cost associated with it. So I just kept plugging it, talking to them about it, expressing how much it was needed. And then also, just like Brooke said, like you gain relationship and also a sense of care and respect for the association, the people that live there. And so to be able to see that turn around, it means a lot.
How did you do it? What was the clincher? What was it, just over time, or did something happen? Or okay, so it wasn't an eureka moment. It was just consistently bringing it up.
Yeah.
What would be a lesson to a manager on how to consistently bring something up without it becoming annoying to the board? Like, you must have been pretty good at it, right? Because if you keep bringing this, can you run with it? Like, how did you manage that part?
Yeah, so I always bring reserve studies up at budget time. I think it's the perfect time to put that information in there, to encourage them to do it, to budget for it the next year. And then if you can visually see during your inspections issues that are needing to be addressed, and you have experience to know what these have cost other associations their size, you can say, listen, you're going to need $50,000 for this, and you don't have $50,000. We got to do something. So it kind of gets their wheels spinning.
So the advice that you have then is you need to watch your timing carefully. And it sounds like you use some visual tools, right? Like physically showing them a piece of paper that says A and B. Is that accurate?
Yes.
Great. I bet there's does the panel, and I'll go through all of you. I don't know why it's still hard to do this, but are there still boards out there that don't want to get reserves? Brooke?
Yes.
Well, Marissa, you deal with a couple properties, but have you heard other managers?
Yeah, there's properties who don't want it. It's just an expense. They're not really, and the fear of what it'll bring. You do a reserve study, especially with property that's built in the 60s, what it's going to bring and show up that they're not expecting.
Dave Bird, would you jump on very short if you could just reinforce the idea of what happens when a board tries to ignore a reserve study? I know it's different from every state.
Yeah, different in every state.
When you come back.
Sorry.
I'm still spending time with the managers.
Oh, I'm sorry. Bye.
I wanted you to remember. The panelists are nice to me. I have to send them like notes. Ask Dawn. I'll be like, or Dave, like, so sorry I rushed you, because I realize like how pushy I am during the live streams and everything. And they're so nice to put up with me. But sometimes I always like, oh, I was so pushy. But anyway, okay. But I like to have a flow with you guys first. You know what I mean? and get as much as we can out of you guys. All right. So I know the next one would surprise me, but I'm going to do emergency. And audience, if you have anything you want to share, let me know. Brooke, no, I'm going to start with Marissa. Maybe you've never had an emergency. Have you ever had an emergency?
Unfortunately, yes. Uh, we
What was
had
your-
a, I had a fire. We had a fire on, we had a fire. Um, it was actually caused by somebody falling asleep with a candle lit.
How big of it? How big of a fire? How many units were impacted?
Actually, it was only the one unit.
Okay.
Wasn't that, it was bad, but it also was a lot of work afterwards.
I don't want to like get too tied down into a whole other topic here, but what was the part of, was there part of it that surprised you? I want to share, get people to learn from this. Was there any part of it surprised you? What was the hardest part about it? What was the most work? What was surprising? Name one item.
The cost to the association, considering it was a homeowner's fault. But in the long run, it helped us with our attorneys, insurance at the time, and the board willing to change and adapt a resolution that now the deductible gets assessed to the homeowners. So it was also became a win in a sense because now deductible, thank God back then it was only a $5,000 deductible. Now it's 25. Association can't handle multiple deductibles like that. So as hard as it was in the reconstruction of
Right.
the unit,
Yeah.
but in the long run, it actually benefited.
Dawn, if you could make a note when you jump on, very short, talk about how this scenario came about, how common it is, and what managers should be aware of so it doesn't happen to them. I don't feel like that should have cost the association much of anything, but it obviously did. All right, Angela, an emergency.
Since you went with cows earlier, I'll go with deer. We had a deer jump a pool fence one night and came in the next morning and found it floating in the pool. So
Dead?
obviously the pool dead. Yeah.
Ugh.
I guess it drowned. It couldn't get out. I don't know what happened, but yeah. So that was fun to find the next morning and getting calls about and having to get animal control out there to get it removed, shut it down so that we could get it cleaned. Yeah, that was interesting.
Did you know to call, is animal control I don't want to put you on the spot like in offering legal commentary, but like you just can't drag it out on your own. If it's dead, it's dead. Do you have to call animal control?
Well, I'm not going out there to pull it out of the pool.
You didn't put your suit on? If you weren't willing to put your suit on and get in the pool with the whole with an audience of owners watching and drag a dead deer out of the pool and put it in a dumpster?
Yeah, I don't
We
think
did have a manager do that, not out of a pool, but out of someone's front yard, and it also impaled itself on a fence. And yeah, he got it off of the fence and hauled it off. So he's our animal control.
All right, I have a question, Dave. If you're writing down, I hope you're writing these down, Dave. Should a manager ever get involved with a dead animal? And Dawn, is that covered by insurance if like Angela's in the pool dragging his deer out and it comes alive and like gets it with her antler? Angela, just real quick, how much of a job was that though for you? Was it a lot of work? And also, was it upsetting a little bit?
so. It was for one of our other managers, but it was a little bit more like alarming when this call came through. There were some homeowners that were concerned. The deer is dead. They want to know how it's being hauled off, how is it being taken care of. Then you have the aspect of the pool shut down, and people are upset the pool is shut down, and that's having to be treated. And people are.
Who would want to? I don't want to swim in that thing. I want it cleaned out.
I guess they were ready to take a dive. I don't know.
What kind of business are we in where people are like mad at somebody because you got to clean the pool because a dead deer was in there? People are saying really quick, and then I'm going to go to you on the emergency, Brooke. If you get a reserve study and do not follow, then you must disclose the financials that the board has decided not to follow the reserve study. That's one reason boards do not want to get the study. Okay, we'll ask our reserve expert about that, and maybe Dave Byrne. Short answers, industry leaders, on these if you can. Also, ask Marissa about a dead body in a unit that was discovered by the smell and how to be dealt with. That sounds kind of ominous, like maybe you were involved in it. No, okay. Very, very short commentary. Does this ring a bell to you at all?
Yep.
Do you want to talk
Yeah.
about it, or is it too upsetting?
I was actually on vacation when it happened.
Oh,
I was
okay.
not on, but I was able to take care of it. I can't really go into
All right,
too
don't.
much. It was a big case,
Okay.
big case, but
All right.
it was not fun. It was a lot of money and a big
Yeah.
expense.
I heard from someone today, I swear I did, where they're not a manager, but they had to deal with a suicide where no one knew the body was in there, and they had to do a full bio cleanup on the whole unit. It was like a huge production for a lot of reasons. Dawn, we're never going to get to it in time, but is that something the association would be covered for if it infringed on common ground? I'll tell a horrible thing. In my building, we had somebody commit suicide and land on the roof of one of our areas, and that was a long production to get fixed and repaired. So, and it was upsetting because somebody jumped, 34 stories. Okay, now this has turned to, now I'm sad all of a sudden. Brooke, do you have an emergency that will uplift me, make me feel better?
Oh no, I don't. Typically when it comes to emergencies, is bad things, but I'd say Helene coming through really was devastating, especially with our North Carolina property. They were affected really bad, and we couldn't make contact. Roads were washed out. People couldn't get help. People couldn't get, where they needed to get to, and trying to navigate that was very difficult, and filing insurance claims, and it was destruction from Greenwood, and we didn't expect it. We had no idea. I mean, it was going to be what it was, and so listening to some things that our owners encountered and how long they went without even being able to drive out of their property. I would say that would be an emergency situation.
That definitely sounds like one. Panel, come on back. We want you guys back. That's why I wanted you to just pop back on at a certain time. All right, let's see if I'm always nervous they're not going to come back. I'm always nervous Michelle's not going to come back because she's such a great panelist, and I don't know why I'm always nervous. Okay, so Tom, very briefly, you were a manager for many, many years. What do you think about what you have heard so far?
You can't make this stuff up, and people wouldn't believe it if you put it in a book.
I had a manager tell me once that they had to investigate because a wife was shaving her husband's back hair in the hot tub. Those are the stories I hear. So why can I come up with, well, I guess because boards call me all day. All right. So Tom, you're not shocked or surprised by any of this?
No. In fact, I've experienced many of that and more.
What was the most stinky, smelly thing you ever had to touch or be involved with for work? Your personal life, we don't want to hear about. You keep that private.
Well, I mean, 3 times I found dead bodies. That comes to mind.
Sounds suspicious.
And then hoarding is another one. So.
Why were you always finding the dead bodies?
Well, because you're the one who they call.
Oh, okay. So you weren't just stumbling upon them. You were calling.
No.
It wasn't like, hey, I found another dead body, everybody, over here. Okay, excellent. All right, so let's go to our panel, and I lost track. Michelle, tell me what I asked you to remember. Maybe you did, maybe you didn't. Maybe you're doing a reserve study during the session. I don't know. What did you hear? And break it into little pieces for me and leave enough time for us to get the other stuff.
I believe you wanted to know about the benefits of bringing in a professional to present the study, like the reserve specialist to present the study.
I want to know why a board would not do that? What name one? There isn't one.
I think maybe they just don't realize that that's something we can do and are happy to do. We fully acknowledge they have a zillion things that they're responsible for and really should lean on their business professionals that they're associated with and let us speak to our subject matter expertise. Let us be the bad guys, especially if it's bad news with increase in fees, and help explain, what's resulted in the need for fees and why it's so important. So I highly encourage it.
Wouldn't you say it's accurate that there's probably no question an owner could throw at you that you haven't heard before or could handle at this point?
Well, they surprise us every day, but for the most part, I feel like we've heard quite a few. Yeah, I think we can cover most. But
I mean, if I was a board and I had to sell a reserve study, I would get the reserve specialists out there in a heartbeat. I can't think of one logical reason not to. If anyone else could come up with one on the panel, please let me know why they wouldn't do it. There's no cost involved, correct? Or is there? Do you have to, or maybe it depends?
Contract, different firms bill differently.
Okay.
Some might charge hourly or something like that, but.
All right. Wasn't there another question too about some boards don't want to do the reserves and things like that? Like, are you still finding that is, obviously our managers are saying it's still going on. I'm shocked by that. Aren't you at this point?
It's crazy. I mean, I think there was a bigger wake up call with Surfside. Unfortunately, that building collapse was a bit of a wake up call of the need to do it. But I always tell people it's better to know that I heard someone say something about like they don't want to know, like they're afraid to know. And I've heard that too, which just makes no sense to me, because that really is going against their fiduciary duty to at least inform the homeowners, even if they decide they don't want to follow the funding recommendations. There's got to be some plan, right? Like, we're not going to fund reserves, so be prepared for a special assessment or a loan. But I can't imagine as a board why you wouldn't want to at least inform homeowners or come up with some sort of strategy.
Okay, excellent. Dawn was very lucky today. Angela, I know you know Dawn. Guess who she heard from today, like at 7:55 a.m.? Ray Dickey. I had some important issue I had to talk to her about. That was fun, right? You want me to call you tomorrow morning?
Yes, call earlier, actually.
Okay. That being said, Dawn,
Yes.
Answer your phone.
Go through the insurance.
I always pick up, Dave, always.
No, Dave, you call at 3 a.m. because that's when he's usually.
Dave's not going to answer at 3 a.m. That's for sure.
Dawn, bring up the topics that you wrote down and commentary, and let's.
All right. So as far as insurance and boards, I can tell you there's fatigue. That's really what the issue seems, in my opinion. Boards are just exhausted, as was pointed out, by our management panel, that it just keeps going up 15-20%. And so boards are really looking. It's the largest budget line item often. So they're looking at ways, how do we reduce that cost? And I got to tell you guys, it's a long-term plan. Reserve studies are actually part of it, what you can insure you're going to reserve for. So we need to talk about these things so we can reduce risk, which thereby reduce insurance costs. If everybody participated in that, our insurance costs would go down overall.
Do you think managers should, why don't boards you'll come also, right, Dawn? You'll come and you'll talk about insurance to owners. Am I wrong?
Actually, we ask to speak with every single board that we represent when we start doing our renewals, and we're reaching out in advance. We want to meet with the board. We don't just want to talk to them at renewal, though. We want to talk to them at least 2 to 3 times a year, and we put that in our service timeline. It shouldn't just be right before you renew that you talk to us. In fact, I will admit I got a little testy yesterday with a board that was complaining, and I said, it's the same policy every year. We can meet. You just can't be calling me up 2 hours before it expires and want me to answer questions.
I don't know why you're telling that story, because you help everyone so much and you answer so
but it
many
made
questions.
me mad.
All right. But I was also asking about the owners. You'll go talk to owners though and answer the insurance.
Actually, that's who I want to talk to as well.
Exactly.
Overall. Not all the time, but we want to get them on the same page, and we want them to understand the complexity and their participation as a whole. It's not just the board, it's not the manager. And let's just real quick, I want to dive into Marissa's comment about the fire. You know, Michelle is on here from Reserve Advisors, and one of the other things that Reserve Advisors does, and not to have a plug for any company, but a lot of reserve studies or reserve companies do this, is insurance appraisals. You want to have that done before a fire occurs because there's so many costs that you really just can't anticipate. And a good insurance appraisal can help you at least keep in the mindset of what needs to be done or prepared for.
And Tom, we're going to go to you too, because I know you kind of had a story a little bit before we cut you off. So just so you know, if you can kind of remember it, if you can't, don't worry about it. Dawn, I'm just going to say, and tell me if you agree, why would any board want to answer insurance questions to their owners? Plus, I actually think there's a legal issue with it because they're offering.
Oh, no, they should not be offering an advice. They should not be talking about specific terms and that type of thing. There should certainly be a professional to help decipher that, but they can absolutely talk about what the cost is, what coverages are in place, and provide summaries and or an evidence of insurance.
Really quick, manager, super quick. Angela, do you have boards that do that? They feel like they want to talk to the owners and they start answering questions about insurance and you're just like, oh my gosh, please don't do it. Yes?
All the time.
Marissa, you have a little bit.
To bring the professional in.
Marissa, have you seen that ever happen or heard about it happen from other managers?
I have tried to have, at least at an annual meeting, you try to have your insurance professional there to try and at least give them some ability to speak about it.
Brooke, have you ever seen boards start answering insurance questions and you're like, please don't?
Yes, because they have an insurance background and they think that they know it all, but it's very different when it is association insurance versus property and casualty. And so, yes, those are the ones that typically want to discuss it because they feel like they have that personal relationship and they know what they're talking about. So yes, I do see that.
Dave Byrne. Oh,
Brooke,
go ahead.
Before you go on, I just want to give some kudos to Angela and also to Brooke. I work with them a lot. If you act outside of your scope of authority as a board member, and that includes if you're an attorney, you're an insurance broker, you're an engineer, you may not be covered by your D&O. So you have to consult with your professionals in order to have proper protection.
Oh, and I get the kudos for that. I meant nothing. Sorry, Angela, but didn't I kind of bring it up, Dawn? Where's my?
Yeah, but Brooke,
where's my
Brooke and Angela are constantly
I
bringing
see.
their boards in, and
They're your favorites.
I'm
I
always
get it.
impressed by how strong they are with that.
They're your favorites. I get it. Okay, they're better than me. All right, I understand. All right. That being said, Dave Byrne, by the way, another attorney today did tell me that he thought you were a really cool person. But that being said, go ahead, Dave.
What do you want me to say?
Oh my gosh. Were you taking notes or were you busy working?
Well, no, the last thing you mentioned was a dead animal someone carried around.
You didn't take notes, did you? You were working. Okay.
Yeah, I wrote down dead animal.
Okay. I think one of the legal questions we had, let's fly through them. Do boards not wanting to do reserves? Short answer, they have to, right?
Well, in some states, you mean reserve studies and set aside reserves, right? I mean, in some states, they absolutely have to. In other states, there is not necessarily a statutory requirement, but there's probably a fiduciary duty requirement. Okay. You know, but some states it's absolutely legally mandatory. The other states, I would advise clients to do it because it's consistent with their fiduciary duty. But it's no surprise they don't want to do it. It's what normal politician wants to save for the future. I mean, that's pretty much what it is, and nobody ever wants to do that.
I mean, obviously, we were talking about the dead animal thing. It was an insurance question, but I don't know what it was regarding to legal for the dead animal thing.
Somebody was going to pick it up and get stuck by horns.
Oh, do you have a legal issue with it?
But picking up a dead animal? I mean, I wouldn't pick up a dead animal unless it was my own.
But it's not illegal.
No, I don't know. I don't think it is. Well, I mean, I think if there's a dead animal like on the common property, the other question would be whether or not the association has to pick it up. And I guess the answer is probably yes. Through a contractor or something, because it could be a health hazard, things like that.
So if there's a dead animal,
as a float.
That's Angela. Oh, Dave, that upsets Dave. Dave feeds deer bananas by hand.
No, not by
loves deer.
hand. Not, but the
He's
deer don't
church-
like bananas anyway.
True or false? Are you trying to train the deer to eat bananas out of your hand?
I don't know that's appropriate to be feeding deer out of my hand. It doesn't seem very safe to me. My dog
Okay.
wouldn't like it either. My dog would be annoyed
All right.
by that.
Dawn, I know there was an insurance
He'd
question.
be very jealous.
It was kind of a fun one, but what happens if Angela jumps in the pool and the deer awakens? Or maybe Michelle would do it. She's there for doing a reserve study and Michelle volunteers. She says, hey, I'll jump in the pool and get the deer. Somebody jumps in to rescue the deer and they're injured. Are they going to be, are they covered?
Yeah, so it's going to depend on a couple things. Is Angela an employee of the association or is she an employee of the management company? She's currently an employee of the management company. So her workers' compensation through her employer is going to respond as far as her injuries. But if someone on Angela's behalf sues because of her injuries and also sues the association, that's where the association's workers' comp comes in to defend the association.
So are you saying that Angela was wrong not to jump into the pool and pull the deer out? Because I haven't heard one reason. I haven't heard one legal reason or insurance reason why Angela couldn't put her suit on and drag the dead deer out of the pool.
You know, Ray, I wish I could explain why a lot of people do things, but I can't. But if there's insurance, that's why it's created, to help in those situations.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. There's a legal reason why you can't. I just don't know why anybody
Angela.
would.
I think it's reasonable to assume that managers can draw the line at having to drag dead animals out of pools. I don't know. Maybe Michelle feels differently. I don't know. Michelle, how do you feel about it? They shouldn't have to.
Dragging a deer.
Sorry.
Okay. What were you saying, Dave?
I interrupted Michelle. I'm sorry. I think it also might be like a geographic or cultural kind of thing. Like some people just may be more comfortable with the idea that obstructions like animals and trees and things and just have to be moved, and it's like not unusual to do that. Whereas if you live in a more cosmopolitan area, you'd call someone to remove a dead animal. That might just be like that might just be like a local sort of standard of care as to what's best.
Like those darn city slickers that don't want to jump in a pool and drag deer out. Those darn city slickers, they don't want to get their hands dirty. Okay. Now, Tom, we've got 2 minutes here. Do you want to share it? But you were talking, but can you do it in a minute?
Yeah. Yesterday received a phone call from the interim manager that a resident's son was harassing the female employees, and they wanted me to address it. So subsequently, what I did is I got another board member on the phone, called this individual and said, what's going on here? And he was very apologetic. He said that he would not continue to do this type of action. Subsequently, I drafted a letter today, sent it to him, copied the attorney, and in that letter I said if it continues, the police department will be contacted and the attorney will get involved.
Okay, that sounds horrible. I feel really like all bummed out. That's how we're leaving things. So I feel sorry for that person. Okay, that being said, let's do very, very quick closing thoughts. You may not have any, like 30 seconds. Angela, any closing thoughts?
Never put on your bathing suit to go pull a deer out of the pool.
I like it. Marissa, any advice for managers? Really quick, 30 seconds.
Work with the professionals. Work with your attorneys, your insurance
Brooke,
broker.
I know you love being put on the spot, so I'm saving you. Oh, looks like you're ready. All right.
Was Marissa done?
She's done. We're ready. Go ahead.
Okay, I'd say board training, vital. Financial reports, hierarchy of governing documents. I wrote down all kinds of stuff for you too. Documentation is key for managers. So make sure you're documenting everything, because guess what? It could come back to bite you if you didn't, especially with the reserve study stuff. So good job, Angela. Kudos to you. And I think that is it. Train your board, and we're the smartest, so we know it all, and and be a liaison to the professionals. So if you don't know it, pass it to Dawn, pass it to David, pass it to Michelle. So ensure that we are setting them up for success.
You want to know something? You were kind of like, you struggled through like the last minute, but you did. I'm not even going to summarize because that was so good. And that was such a better job than I've ever done after 500 of these things of summarizing a live stream. That was awesome. I have like nothing else to say. I want to thank everybody for being here. Much appreciated, and sharing their stories. And I hope people learn things. So I appreciate everybody here. Thank you so much. And I hope to see you guys. Next live stream is the 25th. So bye, everybody. See you.
Bye-bye.